For thousands of years, the Xelfar Dominion had ruled the galaxy with an iron grip. They were conquerors, warlords, and overlords to hundreds of species. Their empire spanned countless star systems, their technology unmatched, their warriors genetically perfected for battle. No species had ever resisted them for long, until they met the humans. It had started like any other conquest. Earth was an unremarkable world on the outer edge of the galaxy, a young civilization, technologically primitive compared to the great powers of the universe. Their weapons were outdated, their ships were slow, their armies were weak. Xelfar expected an easy victory, but instead, they found something they had never encountered before, a species that refused to lose, the invasion of Earth. The Xelfar launched their attack with overwhelming force. Their warships darkened the skies, blotting out the sun. Their ground forces landed in every major city, their plasma cannons reducing entire blocks to rubble. In mere days, half of Earth's defenses were gone. Most species, at this point, would have surrendered, but the humans did something different. They fought, not in the way other species fought, not with traditional tactics or predictable strategies. No, the humans were chaotic. They adapted faster than any species the Xelfar had ever seen. When their armies were destroyed, they formed guerrilla groups. When their weapons failed, they used the enemy's own technology against them. When their cities fell, they turned the ruins into traps. Commander Xalrock, leading the invasion force on Earth, sent an urgent message to the High Command. Resistance heavier than anticipated. Human forces are utilizing unconventional warfare. Need reinforcements. The reply came instantly. You are fighting a primitive species. Reinforcements denied. Finish the job. But Xalrock had already realized the truth. This was not going to be an easy war. The War Council's crisis. On the Xelfar homeworld, Supreme Warlord Xelvor stood before his War Council, seething with fury. This war should have been over months ago. He roared, slamming his massive clawed fist onto the table. How do these primitives continue to resist? Silence filled the war room. The greatest military minds of the Dominion, admirals, generals, strategists, stood frozen, unable to answer. Finally, one among them stepped forward. Varek, a scientist who had been studying humanity since the war began. My lord, Varek said carefully, I have discovered the reason we cannot break them. Xelvor's slitted eyes narrowed. Speak. It is not their weapons. It is not their numbers. It is not even their technology. The reason humans are unstoppable is because of one simple secret. The warlords leaned in, desperate for the answer. They do not accept defeat. A confused silence filled the chamber. Explain, Xelvor demanded. Varek took a deep breath. Other species, when faced with overwhelming odds, surrender or retreat. It is logical. But humans, they refuse to acknowledge when they have lost. Even when they are outgunned, even when they are outnumbered, even when all logic says they should quit, they don't. The warlords exchanged glances. They were warriors, bred for battle. They understood the importance of knowing when a war was lost. They are just stubborn, one of them sneered. Varek shook his head. Stubbornness leads to persistence. Persistence leads to innovation. Innovation leads to victory. Xelvor's claws tapped rhythmically against the metal table. He had never encountered a foe like this. But he was a warlord. He would crush them. Then we end this, he declared. No more playing around. We bring the full might of the Dominion upon them. We reduce their world to dust. The warlords roared in approval. It was time to end humanity. The final battle. The Xelfar launched their final assault with everything they had. A fleet of warships large enough to blot out the stars. Millions of soldiers armed with the deadliest weapons in the galaxy. Enough firepower to destroy entire planets. The plan was simple. Overwhelm humanity in one decisive strike. But when they arrived at Sol, they found something they did not expect. The humans were waiting. They had learned. They had reverse-engineered Xelfar weapons, creating new technologies specifically designed to counter them. They had studied every Xelfar tactic, every strategy, every weakness that they had prepared. The battle began with fire and fury. The Xelthar unleashed their full power. Earth's defenses should have crumbled. They did not. Human warships, once primitive and slow, now fought with terrifying precision. They moved unpredictably, striking from angles no Xelthar commander could anticipate. On the ground, human soldiers fought like demons. They used every advantage: terrain, deception, raw determination. They refused to retreat. Even when surrounded, even when wounded, they fought. And when a human soldier could no longer fight, they made sure to take as many Xelthar with them as possible. The Xelthar forces, so sure of their victory, found themselves trapped. Then came the moment that sealed their fate. A single damaged human battleship, its engines failing, its hull torn apart, made a desperate charge toward the Xelthar flagship. It should not have been possible. It should have been destroyed. But it wasn't. It smashed into the Dominion's command vessel, detonating its reactor. The resulting explosion tore through the Xelthar fleet, sending ships into chaos. And in that chaos, humanity struck. They did not give the Xelthar a chance to recover. They pressed forward, relentless, unstoppable, a tide of fury and fire. The Dominion's fleet collapsed. Their warlords fell. Their empire, once unbreakable, crumbled. The war was over, and humanity stood victorious. A new galactic power. Years later, when historians looked back on the war, they asked the same question. How did humanity win? They were not the strongest. They were not the smartest. They were not the fastest. Yet, against all odds, they had won. The answer was simple. It wasn't their weapons. It wasn't their technology. It wasn't even their numbers. It was their will. Because humans, no matter the odds, no matter how many times they were knocked down, they never stopped. And that made them unstoppable. Epilogue, a warning to the galaxy. In the ruins of the Dominion's capital, a lone Xelthar survivor sat before a camera, broadcasting to every remaining faction in the galaxy. His voice was hollow, his eyes filled with something no Xelthar had ever felt before: fear. If you are listening to this, heed my warning. His claws trembled. We thought them weak. We thought them primitive. He swallowed hard. We were wrong. He leaned closer, whispering now. If you ever find yourself at war with the humans, if you ever think you can break them. He shook his head, eyes wide. You cannot. He exhaled shakily, because no matter how many you kill, no matter how much you take from them, he paused. They will always get back up.